Carol Burnett liked everyone she worked with, but one co-star crossed a boundary she couldn't forget. This person's behavior grew ugly in her hit show's 7th season. Guest stars were humiliated in front of the cast. After Carol tried to stop it, it turned physical. What occurred next stunned the crew. The betrayal of her longtime co-star hurt. The identity will surprise you. Carol Burnett was born April 26, 1933, in a San Antonio hospital falling apart. She had no address on her birth certificate. Her parents were hooked to alcohol. Both drank daily by age 4. Mother's fury was often fierce. Carol hid beneath mattresses from the yelling. Her parents didn't feed her, so neighbors did. Looking back, Carol termed it survival, not childhood. She remembered perpetual loneliness. Statistics show that youngsters in such households seldom escape, but Carol did. Her parents' marriage ended quickly. Her father left when she was 2. By 6, the divorce was final. The court cited drinking and negligence. Carol attended some hearings. It made her feel invisible, she added. Mother remained bitter. Her father drank more in Los Angeles. However, learned to observe everything. Years later, that helped her create believable stage characters. Carol and her half-sister Chrissy moved in with their grandma after the divorce. They were in a tiny windowless room in a decrepit Hollywood boarding house. Rent was $9 per week. Their bathtub was shared with other tenants down the hall. Mice rushed across the floor at night. Her grandmother's $30 monthly Social Security check supported them. From damaged furniture, Carol built toys. She read trashed books. She attended free radio tapings for fun. In 1941, Los Angeles County reported 7% neglected children. Carol may have been one. At age 8, something weird happened. Carol created Karen, her twin sister. Karen had lovely dimples and curly blonde hair. Carol would dash out the front door, change clothes behind the building, and return as Karen. She did this for about 2 years. She once invited Karen to a birthday celebration. One neighbor wrote to her grandmother requesting assistance. For Carol, it was her first improvisation attempt. She told real stories. She performed them. That started something bigger. She practiced her Tarzan shout on the rooftop at 9. She shouted like a jungle call from old movies until neighbors ran. Police sometimes showed up. She continued. Over time, her voice grew. Her lungs expanded. Later, when people yelled out Tarzan during her show, she did it effortlessly. It began as escape. She trademarked it. Survival didn't stop its howling. At the movies, her grandmother had a tendency. She secretly took theater toilet paper and put it in her purse after the movie. They couldn't afford one. Carol held on to those memories. Years later, she'd laugh. However, it wasn't hilarious then. It sustained them. Films were more than escape. Carol considered them school. She would watch double features for cheap. She analyzed the actors, timing, and scene flow. She monitored audience reaction. Her later comedy originated from those dark theaters. She parroted Gone with the Wind on her show, drawing from those childhood memories. The movie theaters taught her everything. Music calmed them in their small kitchen. Her granny played piano. Her mother played ukulele occasionally. Their tunes included You Are My Sunshine. They didn't care about their poverty those evenings. Carol studied harmony at the kitchen table. It gave her the confidence to sing publicly. Her musical sketches evolved from that spark. She remembered one moment forever. She informed her mother of her acting ambitions. Her mother told her, "You can always write, no matter your appearance." Carol remembered the precise words, "God," that stung. She recognized then that her mother didn't accept her looks. Instead of breaking her, it fueled her. She proved talent trumped attractiveness in her career. She spoke up for outcasts. In the early 1950s, her father barely survived. Alcohol robbed him of everything. Carol traveled for New York in 1954 to pursue her passion. Her father died soon after at 47. His liver failed. Carol stated he was disoriented, not cruel. His life ended while hers began. Carol Burnett was a UCLA junior in 1954, uncertain of her future. He abruptly canceled her final theater exam while she was studying. He had her and a few classmates perform skits at a faculty party instead of a test. This felt more like a prank than a present. Carol worried about her finances and if she'd ever act. That unexpected night changed everything. She spontaneously created a comedic sketch, performed for lecturers. Their laughter was rude. It existed. She watched adults in power respond to her comedy for the first time. She had no idea that someone in the throng was observing her intently. After the concert, Carol did something embarrassing to laugh about. She secretly put cookies in her purse. She was not greedy. She was starving. Food was difficult, and she wanted to give her granny something. An elderly man in a suit approached her as she stuffed the last few cookies. She froze. She feared he would become mad or make her leave, but he applauded her performance and started talking. That awkward cookie exchange opened a door she didn't know existed. The affluent La Jolla shipbuilder offered nearly too good to be true. Carol and her pal Don Soroyan received $1,000 loans. No interest, no catch, except one. They needed the money to pursue their goals in New York. It would be over $12,000 today. It changed two broke students' lives. Carol never shared the name of this man, who requested no recognition or appreciation. Carol's career was built on his kindness. We had three circumstances. The money had to be repaid within 5 years. Second, his identity must be kept hidden forever. Third, if they succeeded, they had to help other young artists. Carol accepted the deal without hesitation. No contract, just a handshake and commitment. She never broke it. Repaid him exactly 5 years later. She never revealed his identity. Her success allowed her to covertly give scholarships and presents to struggling performers. One cookie talk started a cascade that never ended. With money, Carol and Don did something most believed was foolish. They quit UCLA. It was 1954. Women packed their bags and hopped the train to New York despite not being expected to leave school for show business. They lived in a modest apartment and ate cheaply while auditioning and renting with the loan. The struggle lasted years. For years later, Carol got the role that made her famous in 1959. She played Princess Winifred in Once Upon a Mattress on Broadway. The musical migrated from a small, off-Broadway venue to Broadway because audiences couldn't get enough. Carol performed with heart, humor, and fearlessness. She was 26 when her name became famous. She received a Tony nomination and performed 470 times. Years later, she played the part on television, making it one of her favorites. When she returned the $1,000 in 1959, she had fulfilled her pledge. She marked the debt due date. She found the man who believed in her first. He grinned, retrieved the money, and vanished. Carol kept the deal's remainder. She never gave up his name and helped others as he helped her. The story buried beneath her popularity demonstrates the quiet thread that goes through her career. She joined The Gary Moore Show that year. Weekly variety show taped at CBS Studio 50, now Ed Sullivan Theater. Carol was 26 when she performed with comedy and music veterans. She became the star quickly. Her sketches, notably her Cleaning Woman, demonstrated her versatility. She could be silly, sorrowful, loud, or silent as required. Show continued till 1962. In those years, Carol built the muscles she would test on her show. She married producer Joe Hamilton, one of her biggest colleagues. She finally won an Emmy in 1962. She was awarded for excellent musical or variety performance. Not only her first huge win, the business finally recognized her as a comedy leader. By then, she had appeared in hundreds of sketches and was well known in American homes. That Emmy started a remarkable run. By 2024, she had 7 Emmys from 25 nominations. But the first mattered most. It showed her that taking risks and being herself may pay off. Carol and Julie Andrews made a classic 1962 special. Over 17 million people saw Julie and Carol at Carnegie Hall in June. The show included music, parody, and sketch comedy. The two women had amazing chemistry. Despite executives' doubts, the special was a hit overnight. It got 2 Emmys, one each for Carol and the performance. Most fans had never seen Carol as more than a sketch comic. She could sing, act, and perform nationally. Her performance went beyond publicity. She rose to the peak of entertainment. On December 15, 1955, Carol Burnett married Don Soroyan. She was 22. They met in college 3 years prior to her televised appearance. Burnett was still living paycheck to paycheck in New York, working as a hat check girl. Soroyan was also trying to act, but neither had a clear way. Amid cramped dwellings and unpaid expenses, they married. Burnett's life altered practically overnight in 1962 when Julie and Carol at Carnegie Hall won an Emmy. Also that year, their marriage ended. They divorced on September 25th, while her career was booming. The separation showed that success doesn't necessarily bring peace. She married Joe Hamilton, a television producer who produced her Carnegie Hall Spectacular on May 4, 1963, just months later. Love and showbiz intersected in their relationship. When Hamilton married Burnett in Mexico, he had 8 children from a previous marriage. 3 daughters would make 11 children in the household. Always busy, the house was full of voices and schedules. Burnett later called those years joyful and hectic. As public host, she was calm and amusing. Juggling scripts and costumes at home, she managed busy dinner tables and back-to-back school activities. Reality was relentless effort behind the laughter. Carrie, their first daughter, was born December 5, 1963. On January 18, 1967, Jody followed. Then Aaron arrived August 14, 1968. Not all pregnancies ended happily. Burnett miscarried at 9 weeks in early 1965. Even when her star rose, she kept her pain private. But the greatest heartbreak came later. Addiction plagued Carrie from age 13. After years of recovery support, Burnett lost her in 2002. Carrie died at 38 from cancer-related pneumonia. The public mostly saw comedy. They missed the restless nights, hospital trips, and quiet anguish. Jo Hamilton was more than her spouse. The Carol Burnett Show, released in 1967, was his production. It became one of TV's most influential comic variety shows. Hamilton managed an 11-child household while creating that accomplishment. Mornings began with breakfast turmoil. Evenings ended with production meetings. The pressure increased annually. Their marriage ended after nearly 20 years. The 1984 divorce was final. Behind their artistic relationship were deadlines, emotional exhaustion, and heartbreak. Even prosperous lives have trade-offs, as their narrative proved. Burnett accepted any role before her breakthrough. She played the girlfriend of a ventriloquist dummy on The Paul Winchell and Jerry Mahoney Show in 1955. An unaired pilot episode of The Twilight Zone starred her as a guardian angel in 1962. She was Buddy Hackett's uncomfortable girlfriend on Stanley and a contestant on Pantomime Quiz. Although weird and forgettable, these parts steadily developed her reputation. The 1962 special seemed like an immediate triumph, but it took nearly a decade of odd performances and little moments to get there. September 11, 1967, changed everything. CBS opposed Burnett hosting a variety program. They offered Here's Agnes, a bland sitcom. However, Burnett's previous deal allowed her to develop one season of any show. She activated in time. The Carol Burnett Show aired 279 episodes over 11 years. The CBS Television City Studio 33 filming made television history. Women had never hosted a primetime variety show. Burnett pioneered and never looked back. The concert started unexpectedly. Burnett left to take audience questions. It started accidentally. For fun, a producer sent her out early. It became a staple because the audience adored it. People asked her how she started, who her favorite co-stars were, and to hear her Tarzan roar. Burnett reacted with charm and honesty, creating a bond few TV shows could match. She continues the tradition in her live presentations. She remembered such unexpected situations as her professional highlights. She developed characters that lived beyond the screen, not just performed. There was the charwoman, a quiet cleaner with a mop and a dream. Eunice, the family sketch's loud, frustrated daughter, eventually starred in Mama's Family. Burnett's face, as expressive as a comedian's tool set. She could turn it into grief, surprise, or joy in a second. Her parodies of Went with the Wind displayed her range. Not only did these sketches make people chuckle, they influenced TV comedy. Awards followed. The sitcom won 25 Primetime Emmys from 70 nominations in 11 seasons. It earned 3 Outstanding Variety Series awards. Few shows have been as well received. Golden Globes created a Lifetime Achievement Award for Burnett because of her fame. She received it while alive, an uncommon honor. In acceptance speeches, her cast colleagues like Tim Conway and Harvey Korman regularly stole the show with unplanned comedy that mixed reality and play. Their theatrical performances were hilarious, emotional, and unforgettable. But Burnett never worked alone. She chose her cast carefully. Harvey Korman had shown his worth on The Danny Kaye Show. Teenager Vicki Lawrence wrote Burnett a fan letter and became one of her best performers. After auditioning for Batman, Lyle Waggoner became the show's announcer and straight man. Tim Conway, a visitor, became a regular in 1975. He was noted for long sketching with well-timed silences and missteps. They created TV magic. Their chemistry is studied nowadays. Their sketches played in tributes and classes. Harvey Korman had always been a major presence on Carol Burnett, but by the 7th season, he had changed. His moods changed suddenly. Guest stars observed the tension on set. It was Tim Conway and Petula Clark that week. Midway through rehearsal, Conway, who always provided delight, was chopped down. Korman deemed a doodle stupid without hiding it. The greeting was barely courteous for Clark. Korman's nasty mumbles while rehearsing with them made things worse. Although the concert was known for fun and friendliness, the air grew frigid in those moments. Kind and gracious Carol Burnett had enough. She went straight to Harvey's dressing room and informed him his behavior was inappropriate. She didn't shout. She didn't insult. But she insisted. She wasn't expecting the retaliation. Harvey told her to keep out of his business. He even preferred quitting after that night's show. He violently forced her into the hallway and closed the door when she resisted. She was shocked. They worked together for years. She was shaken by that. Conflict didn't interest Carol. She constantly avoided it. But now she needed strength. She imagined being someone else. She imagined herself as Joan Crawford and Barbara Stanwyck. Strong, sharp, unbreakable. With their voices in her brain, she rose erect and returned to his door without hesitation. She informed Korman that she had contacted his representative. Fired. He wouldn't return. Harvey initially doubted her. He knew it was true when he saw her eyes and heard her firm tone. The fight left him briefly. He felt the weight of his actions. Outbursts, coldness, missed grace. It all caught up with him suddenly. He apologized then. He pleaded for another opportunity, a week of rehearsals and tapings without a single fit. Carol agreed, but only if he kept positive. And he did. He kept promise. They remained close for the remainder of his life, not only that week, but until the program did cease. When Harvey Korman died in 2008, Carol Burnett didn't remember the shouting or smashed doors. She remembers the friendship that followed. She thought conflict saved their relationship and the show. Carol Burnett fought behind the scenes. Her oldest daughter, Carrie, began using drugs at 13. Not a silent struggle. Carrie tried everything. Booze, pot, heroin, cocaine, quails. She was in her 3rd rehab by 15. Carol and Joe Hamilton tried everything but failed. Press learned in 1979. People termed it Carol Burnett's nightmare. Not a headline. It was real. Carol subsequently said those years were like walking through fire with no escape. Somehow, Carrie survived. She cleaned. She was sober over 12 years. She visited schools. She discussed addiction. She inspired people with her suffering. Those struggles were taxing. Joe and Carol Hamilton, married since 1963, drifted apart. By 1982, they lived apart. Long work hours and Carrie's addiction drove them to the edge. Carol constantly attempted to improve things without controversy. This time, there was no simple solution. Their 1984 divorce. Their marriage, once creative and successful, ended, adding to their anguish. Joe Hamilton died in 1991, 7 years later. His age was 62. The cancer has spread to his neck and skull. Man who made television history with Carol died quietly at home. They kept in touch, mainly for the kids, after the divorce. Behind the scenes, Joe was brilliant. 20 nominations, 5 wins. But his latter years were marred by loss, addiction, divorce, and disease. His death shattered their family and television. The biggest blow followed. On January 20th, 2002, Carrie Hamilton died. Her age was 38. After years of sobriety and hope, cancer struck. It started in her lungs and spread to her brain. Pneumonia. Suddenly, the girl who had overcome addiction and found her voice was gone. Carrie was working on a Broadway play with her mother. The name was Hollywood Arms. Writing continued as her health declined. She dreamed on. Carol subsequently claimed losing Carrie was like being halved. She added that Carrie's strength, her choice to fight, recover, and create, remained with her daily. In 1988, before the cancer, mother and daughter took an unexpected journey. They visited Moscow. Their aim was clear: help found the first Soviet AA group. The country had nearly 4 million alcoholics. Most had never heard of AA. Carrie and Carol answered calls from desperate folks for hours. Carol's Life of the Party aired on Soviet TV to over 90 million viewers. A silent revolution. Early in her rehabilitation, Carrie told callers they weren't alone. Her voice, once shaped by pain, saved strangers worldwide. Two of television's most adored comedic talents discreetly split in the early 1980s. Carol Burnett and Vicki Lawrence had years of cinematic hilarity. Their link felt unbreakable. After Mama's Family split into its own show, something changed. Carol had just divorced Joe Hamilton, her husband and Mama's Family producer, after a difficult divorce. That split ended more than a marriage. Created emotional lines. An unexpected event. Pulled away from the show and its characters, especially Vicki. Burnett's Eunice helped begin the series. She left the set after the divorce. No more episodes featured her. Vicki's autobiography says their silence wasn't temporary. Carol was upset Vicki continued the series. Controlled by Hamilton. The show syndicated. Vicki persisted, while Carol abstained. A once close friendship cooled. Previously a frequent set visitor, Burnett was now gone. Confused fans. Loss affected the cast. Vicki found herself loyal to the work, but estranged from a dear friend. Carol chose more than one show. All about everything. After her divorce on October 22, 1982, she left Hollywood nearly completely. She moved to Maui. She shunned attention. Her longtime employees were cut off. Vicki then claimed she divorced everyone linked with him. That includes her. The agony was severe. Carol was silent for years. She refused to answer questions about herself. Wound was open. Healing began following Joe Hamilton's 1991 death. Simple phone calls were some of the most emotional times during that period. Vicki was making dinner when the phone rang. Her son grabbed it. Carol was there, but she didn't want to talk to Vicki. She requested to talk to her husband, Al Schultz. Vicki just stood there, startled. Does she want to talk to me? She asked her son. No, she replied. That memory lingered for years. After answering the phone, Al informed Vicki what Carol said. I promised to return. I swear. This promise would take a long time to come true. In her own pain, stayed away for years, while Vicki tried to move forward, still hurting. But time changes things, and it did. After Hamilton's death, Carol and Vicki slowly reunited. Distance shrank. Warmth returned. They spoke again and were close by 2023. Vicki said they were closer than ever. Reuniting for Apple TV+, Palm Royale, felt like coming full circle. Their friendship was strengthened, not just revived. Vicki said Carol taught her a lot over time. Lessons about labor, fun, and persevering when things go wrong. My phone vow to return had come true. Carol Burnett's television return was extraordinary. She does roles most actresses her age wouldn't accept at 91. She joins Better Call Saul's finale in 2022. Marion helped bring down Saul Goodman. She didn't guest star nostalgically. The tale revolved around her. She reprised her comic role as Norma Delacourt in Palm Royale in 2024, holding her own with younger actors. When asked why she works, she replied simply, she wants fun. That energy that lit up living rooms for decades remains. She will continue unless the labor becomes unenjoyable.